On the flip side of the derangement is just an absolutely horrific story that I put up today. Um, Let me make sure I get the right one. I'm not sure exactly how to say his name, so I do apologize, folks, if I do pronounce his name wrong. He is an LA Times writer. His name is Michael Hiltzik. He wrote an LA Times article, and here's what originally happened. It didn't go really wide, and I didn't notice it right away. Um, the article was titled at this point, um, column mocking anti vaxxers, COVID's death is ghoulish, yes, but maybe necessary. A very hyperbolic and shocking title, to say the least. However, when you read the article, and this came out, I think, yesterday, Shapiro did a little segment on Ben Shapiro's show too. Um, when you look at the URL says, why shouldn't we dance on the graves of anti vaxxers? It's an LA Times writer, a Pulitzer Prize winning LA Times writer.
So
Then
what does that tell us? Was that the original title then, huh?
that was the original title. And then when I go to search it to make sure I got the quotes correctly, because I try to pull up the original article, it's been changed again. And now the title reads Hiltzik, Death and the Anti Vaxxer. But everything is still there. There's no changes to the article that I can read. It reads very, very extreme. It begins, this is the soft portion of the article. Pleas for civility are a fraud. Their goal is so blunt and unfeeble criticism and distract from its truthfulness. Typically, they're the worst of hypocrites. And he goes on, this is where that statement gets a little crazy. It may be not a little ghoulish to celebrate or exalt the deaths of vaccine opponents, and it may be proper to express sympathy and solicitude to those they leave behind. But mockery is not necessarily the wrong reaction to those who publicly mocked anti COVID measures, encouraged others to follow suit before they perished of the disease, the dangers of which they belittled. Nor is it wrong to deny them our sympathy and solicitude to make sure it's known that when their deaths are marked, that they had stood fast against measures that might have protected themselves and others from the fate that they succumbed to. It is, I don't know. I can't imagine being so callous and blinded by politics that you not only feel this way, you're going to use your role as a journalist to publicly encourage people to be that vile and outspoken to say basically we think it's not only okay, we encourage you to dance on the graves of those that are unvaxxed and die. It's just shocking that the LA Times has not only kept this article up, all they do is just keep trying to change the title to kind of soften the vile vitriol nonsense that this man is spewing.
Yeah, no, it was kind of a lengthy op-ed.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess they were assuming that most people wouldn't read through the whole thing, but yeah, it was the title. I saw that a couple days ago, whatever day it came out.
I said it came out on Sunday. I didn't know what day of the week it came out on.
Yeah, it's been a little while because it came through my feed. I remember seeing that, and yeah, I honestly didn't read the whole thing, so I'm guilty of that. But the title alone said it all. It was about it being necessary. So the fact that human life is taken depends how human life is taken away from us. If it's because you're unvaccinated, that's not so bad. But yeah, it's just a really scary way of thinking of things.
But no one thinks this way. No one. Okay, even if you have those moments of like awful thoughts, and you have like the chain smoker that has cancer in their, let's say, 50s or 60s, and you're like, all right, well, you kind of did it to yourself, right? The obese overeater that's 300 pounds that now has like coronary heart disease and heart attacks, and all right, you kind of did it to yourself. Okay, those are fleeting comments, right? This guy took that and then went public with, I'm going to write an article about dancing on the graves of others for whatever reason. It doesn't even matter why he wrote that. It's just the fact that he would do that to me is so disgusting. And again, the Times is going to not pay attention to some plebe like me, but I'm like, dude, you should not only take this article down, he should at least be suspended or something. This is awful.
But the thing is the thing that's really scary is he's not alone. Maybe others that don't have the same platform as him, people on Twitter, I've seen a lot of tweets in that same vein. So there's a lot of people out there with that mindset, which is pretty scary. Now I did see an interview with, he's a bioethicist, probably the most famous one in this country. His name is Art Kaplan.
Oh, I don't have that article, that story.
Do you know about it?
No, that's not the one. Okay. I know. I have a different Twitter craziness that I was also going to mention if we got to, but yours sounds much more interesting. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if I can find the video, but he was being interviewed, I think, on MSNBC, and he was saying that unvaccinated people, should have to, pay more for insurance, more for health. I mean, he was going down this whole litany of penalties for not being vaccinated, financial and otherwise. And I thought that was kind of on the evil side. And he didn't say that about, smokers and lung cancer. He didn't say that about some other conditions. It was just being unvaccinated. I'm not saying he should say that for anybody. If somebody requires healthcare, and that should be up to the insurance company anyway, where they determine the risk and then the cost because of that. But the fact that a bioethicist came out and said that, it's like, nah, something's wrong with this guy, man.
Actually, the hypocrisy of the title is the idea of you're a bioethicist and you're like just basically like, oh no, we shouldn't treat these people. We should basically treat them as non-human. We should say, oh no, we're not going to treat them. They did this to themselves.
Did you find it?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, but basically,
I was going on to something next.
Pariahs, it's like, seriously, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, is this where we've come as a human race? I guess so.
Well, COVID has driven us there. Like I said, we called it COVID derangement syndrome for a reason. And you are so right with this is people that they're not alone. That is, it's dancing on the grave of the anti-vax. It's trying to keep it's so I think with Omicron, right? It bursts through all of the narrative. You were talking about last week that everything that they said, it's all crumbling in around them. We're talking about how they're going to have to try to grab at straws. And it's like, well, so I'll give you an example. I heard today, and I'll just say a percentage of the number of people that have been tested positive in just the last couple months, for instance, almost 80% of them are already vaxxed. So the narrative of you have to be vaxxed and all this, and it gives you this sort of like, it's not so much a protection from getting it. It's a symptom mitigator. It reduces your chances of serious illness and death and those kind of things. We've talked about this many times. But now it's become, we have to demonize something. Whoopi Goldberg did her thing, right? So I did all the things that are right, but I still got it. I was on the altar of following the rules, but I still got it. So now we have to figure out a way to blame someone else in the village, right? And you see this in religions, right? Someone in the village has to be the center. Someone has to be the one that's causing this to continue to rain down on us. And they just appear to be the punching boy.
Hey, we're News Talk with Brandon and Bob. We're here to tell you about some of the facts so you don't have to waste your time watching CNN.
We don't want you wasting any time with CNN.
Or Fox or MSNBC or some of these other guys that are making a whole lot of money.
Et cetera, et cetera.
He's not paying.